300 gigahertz. So there are these are the things, like for example, like the communication section, which has been happening from 3 kilohertz to 300 gigahertz is the product which you are going to take. So what product has been into this communication sector, or what product has been into this what comes into this category? So most probably, as we all know, the basic things which has been into the market is the radio. This is the thing that comes under this RF communication. Why I took this product is, this product is a product which has been into the market for so many decades. For example, it's been into the market from 1929. In India, it has been in from 1929. It's almost like an 10 decades, or we can call it as like 100 years. It's almost then, like, still radio, even in radios, they are doing business, multi-millionaire business they are doing. But how come, what are the technology that is being implemented, and how was the technology previously, and how this technology is being like evolved, and how this been into the market? So when we go into radio, if you are going it for particularly purely for an educational hub, it is purely that there is not a commercial product, that is purely of educational product, where we are going to give only the useful content which has been like shared by a number of peoples on a voluntary basis. So that we call it as an educational hub. When we go for a cultural event, we call like all the Radio City, all the KAHE FMs and all these things, we call it as. But regular technical data, that depends upon how the radio is being used. For example, if at all in radio, we call it as like there are two types of sections. We call it as amplitude modulation and frequency modulation. So when we go into the amplitude modulation, it's perfectly and purely, it's like for example, we call it as like All India Radio is an AM. So but when we call it as like Radio City and KAHE 103.5 and all these things, Suryan FM, in all these things we call it as FM. What is the difference between this radio and, I mean, like FM and AM is? AM is like, for example, if the higher official of this country has been speaking from one place, and like it has been telecasted or broadcasted from a single point to various nodes, and from that nodes it has been sent to each devices. So I could able to get all these things from a single point through many nodes and through many devices, and I could able to get at the end product. So that we call it as an AM. But when we come for the frequency model, actually it is so clear, it is so precise, but it can't travel for more than 100 miles or 200 miles. It depends upon the transmitter and receiver, which it depends upon the transmitter which you're using. So these are the things that comes under this radio technology. But when you go into this radio technology, here comes the technology which is being into. When it was in the previous years, when it was first radio, when it was like introduced, it was purely of a broadcasting radio. It was like purely of AM and FM. There was no too much of products in radio system. Then comes two-way radio. So nowadays in two-way radio, you could able to find see in many places, like all the police officials will be having this walkie-talkie. So that is a two-way radio, but there's also some what you call it as disadvantages, like they can't able to go beyond that border, or they can't able to go beyond that one. So even in this two-way radio, this is an upgraded version of the broadcasting radio, and after that comes the satellite radio. We have only a satellite over for all, and after that we no need to have like any transmitting stations or anything like. So once we have a single satellite, so we could able to have it for the whole country or the whole state or something like that. But there is a what you call it as, there is some negatives in the satellite radio, and there are countries who has like satellite radios. They are having like too much of investment on the satellite radio, so that they could able to have like each and every rural areas can also have that receiving the what you call it as receiving the frequency. So these are the things that defines how the technology is being into the market. Wi-Fi radio is nothing but in many colleges nowadays, like you could able to see in many colleges they have a radio, but that is like a university radio. We call it as a university radio. That can be happen in a small Wi-Fi module itself. Like for example, if they are having like a Zigbee in a high range or Zigbee in a high, but we want to be make sure that that should be like in a line of sight. If that is not the line of sight, then that radio will not be working. So in all the university radios, like automatically we could able to see like once, for example, if at all they are having a cultural event, if at all they want to announce their what you call it as announce some important information at 9 o'clock or 5 p.m. or in between the classes or anything, they use this Wi-Fi radio in many colleges and schools. So here comes the latest module, software defined radio. So this is the topic which we are going to discuss in detail. But before going into that, we will be we'll be able to understand how this software defined radio is being into the market. When we talk about this software defined radio, this is a software defined radio where it will find out what all the frequency which has been available in the market, and if at all there is a licensed frequency or if it is unlicensed, or these are the things that we could able to find out in the software defined radio. And using this cognitive radio method and all this software defined radio method, we could able to use a frequency which is not been used. For example, if I hold a license and my competitor is not unlike unlicensed persons or unlicensed frequency they use, means for example, if they pay me some amount so that they could able to use this licensed frequency for some time, so after that when I want to use my frequency, I could able to get that. So these are the technology that has been that nowadays can be used, like software defined radio. For example, I can give my licensed frequency or my licensed way of radio connections to someone, so that they could able to use that frequency for some time and they could able to use it. So this you could able to see in like many like local TV channels. So previously, before now the digital era has been there. Before that, analog what you call as analog antennas and all these things was there. They will be using, if at all some high channels which is not been using at the time, they will use that proper channel with the permission of that concerned link, and they will use that and they will telecast some like latest movies and all these things. So this is how they will use the bandwidth, or they will use that frequency for some time, so that that can be used for their own purpose in a commercial way. So when I go into this radio, why we are going into the statistics is actually like we could able to see like how the frequency, for example, the wireless communication, when it was in the early 19th century, United States was the first country to introduce this wireless communication, and later in 1923 we introduced in India. But still now this wireless technology is being into the market with a high what you call as high profit ratio. When you compare to some other business, like this business is having like one-time installment. When you go for antenna, when you go for any transmitter and receiver, here comes a commercial way that they get a lot of business out of it. So when we compare this to this total stations, when we compare to US and India, US is having the total number of high number of stations all over the world, 24,447, and while in India we have like 467. So there are when we call about, like, there are countries which does not have radio stations also. They does not use it in a commercial way. But we in India, US and many countries, we use it as a purely business section. When we go into this business section, automatically the technology is also getting like evolved, and it is always like elaborated. So when you go for this revenue generation, the US dollar in US dollars, like they create what you call it as billions over the air, and or over the air is nothing but through AM or FM or through the satellite conversion. And when it compares to the online, it is like online radio. We have like online radio. Through that, they will generate all the through advertisement and all these things. So you could able to see from 2002 to 2023, radio is a what you call it as radio is a old product. When we talk about radio, we always talk about that is an old product. We have like a number of smartphones, a number of latest technology we have. But even then, in the latest statistics says like 2023, they got around like 1,900 million US dollars. They had a profit only in US. So these are the things when we check about like what are the technology they are been implementing, what are the technology they have been into. So when we talk about this radio setup, we need all these things, as we all know, like an amplifier and speaker, or we need a mixer and all these things. And when it is all about like we need a licensed, or if it is in a college or if it is in a school, we call it as an unlicensed version. We call it, we can install either it is in Wi-Fi or either use like Bluetooth. If it is in a smaller circle, we can use it as a Bluetooth. So here comes the technology signal source. Like we call it as like a, when we call it as like AM and FM in India, we have like AM and FM, and there are countries in US and UK they use satellite, and in India we have like internet technology of signal source, and we have like there are countries which specifically have a HD radio where they have a high frequency which they use it only for specific purpose, like only for military purposes or only in the marine areas and all these things. Even in India, we have like HD radios, but it's not been like commercialized. They are using it in military purpose, and in some areas of marine we are using, but in other countries where most probably all the HD radios they are using it only in both the military and in the marine areas. So there are many protocols which has been into the market. So digital radio protocols, we call it as like DMR protocols, Tetra, P25 and LTE based mission credits and push to talk. This is the push to talk. It has been used in the walkie talkie. So now we are going into how this all these radio signals, how all these radio technologies and everything has been like AI powered. When we go into this AI powered, we call it as only two things. AI is nothing but we know like AI is an artificial intelligence. When we talk about artificial intelligence, we talk about all the five sensors. Other than the thinking capacity, we call all the other five sensors as artificial intelligence. So when we talk about human intelligence, we talk about six sensors. So when it is in purely of AI, there are two main categories, main things which has been into the market. One is communication, and the other one is the information. So if at all we call a product, for example, if I am calling a product, for example, if I'm calling my mobile as an a product, so I will be checking like, for example, is it purely an AI product or if it is an embedded product. So there are differences between embedded product as well as in AI product. So when I compare, like if purely it is an artificial intelligence product, I'll check out like how the communication has been, like either it is a wired communication or either it is a wireless communication. How my information has been, like all my information is from the cloud basis, or am I getting it from the present data, or am I getting it from the past data which has been stored either through EEPROM or any hard disk or anything like that. So when we talk about communication and information with the help of the latest technology of all these five sensors, we call it as an AI product. So now we are talking about purely of like all these wireless systems. So how come in all these wireless systems, in all these wireless technologies, how this AI is being used? Like for example, if you are talking like if at all I'm talking like an email has been email has been integrated with AI. As we all know, like for example, email, if at all if at all it will have all the contents of Jiva's content. For example, how Jiva will type and how much time Jiva will take to type a mail, and how his way of or the style of writing the English, maybe like I may not be like that much professional enough in writing the English from the sentence from top to bottom. So these are the things that it will automatically have the data. For example, the next time when I'm writing like greetings for, automatically it will know like, okay, or whenever he is writing, he will tell like greetings for the day or greetings for the day. Thanks for your support and encouragement. So when I start writing thanks, it will automatically come up with a sentence of thanks for your support and encouragement. But this thing, how it will be like, for example, whether this is an AI product or an embedded product. So here we have some differences between an AI and an embedded. For example, automatically if something is been bulging out and automatically if something is giving me content, we can call it as an embedded product without the help of any internet. If some product has been working, we call it as an embedded product. But with the help of purely an internet, as well as with the help of some intelligence, what we call it as an intelligence. Intelligence is nothing but like the touch sensor or the viewable sensor like cameras and all these things. Using all these things, if at all some data has been given to some product, we call it as an AI product. So using all these things and all these sensors, for example, I could able to get a data from one of the colleges, like they had a online exam, but even then they had a camera which automatically gives information like this person is like his vision is like he's moving here and there, he's moving. So automatically, and if at all I'm taking some more time to enter the answers or something like that, so I may have a malpractice with like either I have a book nearby or either I have a in any kind of smartphones or anything like that. So these kind of things that we call it as an AI product. These are the products which is already been there in the market. So we have a camera, and that camera will give you like an in depth of, okay, this is how this person is working. This is how this person is like working when he or she is in a normal stage. So these are the data has been already been loaded into some hard disk, and when I'm not up to that mark which has been already been there, automatically this will give a beep, or this will give an alarm like so and so person is not in this place or in her place. So if at all someone is in their place, they could able to understand, they could able to identify, okay, this person is a scam, or this person is like doing some unwanted work in the office. So these are the things is purely of an AI. When we call it out, when we call this Aadhaar, what do you call it as Aadhaar update in nowadays, like in the future, it will be like purely of an AI setup. Like nowadays, this product is an embedded product. When we call it as an Aadhaar, with the help of without the internet, we call it as an embedded product. When in the future, when there's a internet and all these things is integrated, automatically this we can able to do it in an AI product itself. So most surely I hope like they will be working related to this AI related for the Aadhaar and all these things. So why I'm talking about all these things related when we have a topic of wireless technology and all these things. So before going into this AI or into this wireless technology, these are the things that we have to know. How this section has been like, either this information is from wired technology or wireless technology, or either it is an embedded product or an IoT product, or it is an AI product. So when we call it as like wireless technology is being like AI based, surely it will be an embedded product as well as an IoT product. Then only it can be an AI product. So artificial intelligence with 5 sensors, we call it as an AI product. So if at all these sensors, or if at all these data which is not lively, we call it as an embedded product. So how come this wireless technology is being into this A based? So before going into this AI-based network, before going into the security and all this self-healing, we should know like what is the network automation. So when we go and see into this network automation automatically comes with like purely how the antenna is being. So how the antenna's capability, like transmitting capability, receiving capability. So there are antennas which does both transmitting and receiving, and there are antennas which only receives. And in the previous decades, we could able to see like many antennas. For example, if at all an antenna has been installed in Karpagam University, and an antenna has been installed near Gandhipuram bus stand means. So there, this from this antenna to that antenna will be a wired communication. I mean, like the data will be wired communication, and from this antenna to the local, for example, from the local people, that will be a wireless communication. So nowadays, there are technology which has been into the market. So everything they are planning it for like wireless communication, but till now it has not been up to date. So there are some data is purely of wired communication. You could able to see each and every antenna. For example, this antenna, if at all I am near like Gandhipuram bus stand, there will be an antenna. That antenna will be interlinked with some of the antenna which is nearby through any wires, through any fiber wires or any kind of latest technology wires. So these are the things that is purely wired. So what is the wireless technology which has been here? So wireless technology, when we talk about all the, for example, if I am calling it to someone, automatically for the antenna, this wireless technology from my mobile to the antenna is a wireless technology, and from that automatically, for example, for a per second 22 calls or 28 calls or 48 calls it can receive. So there are antennas depends upon like 52 calls. It has some limits. So if that limit has been crossed, automatically it won't make me to connect to the concerned person or concerned thing. So these are the things. For this, actually, the receiving, the remote electrical tilt or the network management system, and all these two things play a major role in this antenna. So the network management system, for example, like how when you see to this like antennas infrastructure, like previously there will be a bigger what do you call this, bigger bowl like something, but nowadays there is not like that. You could able to see like a bar type of bar type of boxes, that is a receiver, and there are some transmitters. So these are the networking system which has been into the market, and these things contain things like sensors, like how come like for example, if at all at a time 24 people are calling, 26 people are calling, it automatically makes that 25th person to switch on to the next module, or to the next module which is nearby. So they have like too much of modules connected. When you had a chance to see to this network, you could able to see like nowadays it is like so small enough. So like for example, it will be having like 3 into 4 feet, or 3 into 2.5 feet width. So in a height of this much they will be having. So if at all they are adding too much of blocks and blocks, they can have like n number of inputs, like depending upon the inputs. So these are the things that plays a major role when it comes to the network management system. So nowadays in the latest things, they have connected some IoT sensors, and like all the antennas is being like A and ML optimization. How this ML optimization and all these things, machine learning and artificial intelligence optimization is actually depending upon the antennas, there are different types of antennas. We can, for example, like one antenna maybe of the previous decade's antenna, but if at all I could able to use that antenna for the latest technology, I can able to embed it with that product, so that I could able to have some AI integrations, and I could able to use that previous product itself with the latest technology. So this is how this AI and ML optimization that can be done with the latest networking management system. And when we know about this antenna technology is purely of electrical, as we all know, like all the electrical energy is converted into electromagnetic energy. So when we come into this security part, only these two things plays a major role: the frequency hopping as well as the direct sequencer. This frequency hopping is nothing but, for example, there are like if at all this 103.5 radio city or Covey city is being hacked, means that frequency cannot be that in that frequency any uninformation or any unwanted information can be shared. So for this, now what kind of technology is being into the market is frequency hopping. For example, for example, I will tell you, like I am sitting inside a room and I have like 100 doors. Sorry, I have like 100 windows, and I will tell my receiver. For example, I will tell the concerned receiver that I am switching from first window to the seventh window, or the seventh window to the 15th window. So this is how the frequency hopping happens, but purely in the security basis. For example, if at all, like I'm sending a data of, like, for example, as a song has been playing for such a long time, for 1 minute, automatically within a fraction of nanosecond, automatically there will be an data which is being sent, and automatically it won't be running in the same frequency. It will be jumping from that frequency to the next frequency, and that the data will be on the perfect output. So this is the area where frequency hopping can be done. So through this, this is a thing that we have already installed in India, like in many areas, like in military purpose, so that if at all we are saying any secret information that can be from the receiver side and from the transmitter side, they know, like what you call it as how come this frequency hopping happens. But when it comes to the commercial market, there are depends upon the companies, and depends upon the manufacturing sectors, or depends upon the frequency modulations. If they want to install this frequency hopping into their frequency modulation or into their FM section, they can able to install this frequency hopping. So it is an additional or things that can be happen when we need for a security oriented. When we go for this direct sequence, like direct sequence is nothing but when we call about like frequency hopping, it is like it's jumping from one frequency to the another. But in direct sequence, we will be having what you call it as we can able to give the information to the receiver. For example, if I'm using a frequency, and I could able to switch over from this frequency to the other frequency, like through this cognitive radio or software defined radio, through all these things, I could able to give an information that I'm going to switching over from this frequency to this frequency due to some noise or due to some malfunction that is happening in this. So these are the things that I could able to say directly, and I could able to switch over things. So these are the two things that has been into the market in all the modern radios. But when we come into this last thing, we call it as self-healing. What is this self-healing? Or like when we talk about this self-healing, these are the things plays a major role. For example, if at all a non-licensed person is like giving a request of I want to use this frequency for such a long time, so I'll pay this money amount for this one. So if at all he or she, I mean, that company, that concerned organization is using that frequency, and suddenly that the licensed person is being like available for the next hour, and he suddenly he is like giving an information that I'm going to use the same frequency. Automatically, if this unit has been connected with the software defined radio, it automatically, it does not ask for any option. It automatically searches for what frequency is available, and automatically it uses that bandwidth and frequency, and automatically the output is given. So when we call for self healing, we can call it as like uh, it will automatically find it out where the noise is there, where the, if at all there is some modulation issues or demodulation issues, or if there is any hinges in the mixture, or if there is any over noises in the amplifier or anything. The latest technology, which has been, we call it as a AI generated product, that it automatically, if at all we set a bar, like for example 80 dB or 20 dB or 5 dB, we call it as like, when we set it as like these many things, automatically it will adopt to that system, and it will say like, it will enact, and it don't ask like a number of questions. So it will ask like, for example, if at all we are telling like 20 dB, and this demodulation modulation should be done, and the amplifying output should be like so and so things, and the wireless technology which we are using. Okay, all this wireless technology which we are using is through RF, and the antennas which you are using, what kind of antenna you are using, like either it is a beam antenna, or either it is like what kind of antenna we are using. So all these things that can be done, or all these things that can be done in the self healing. So the three things is like, in the latest technology, self-healing has been implemented in all these things, like in cognitive radio, satellite communication, and most probably in the software-defined radio. So when we talk about this in practical, if you are leaving the satellite communication, in practical, when we are talking about this cognitive radio and software-defined radio, so these two plays a major role in many and in many stations, like I saw an article like in Air India, like All India Radio. We have already installed this software defined radio, so that we could able to have a nice frequency with no noise. So with so that we could able to have a diligent output, so we could able to have a clear output. So these are the things, like in cognitive radio and software defined radio, these self-healing project has been already installed, and like these are the things that has been into the market. But when this software radio and this cognitive radio is being like in the market, when it has been like installed almost like in all the stations, then we'll be having like a clear wireless data. For example, if at all I'm having a, in the rural area itself, I can able to have like All India Radio, or in the rural area itself, I can have a Suryan FM. All these things that can be done. So it depends upon how much places where we are going to install, and most probably there are places where like in mixture plays a major role. For example, like RF mixture, transmitting mixture, and modulation, demodulation. In all these things, the wireless, these will be like purely a wire section. Only from the antenna to the receiving section will be like wireless. Other than the things, like it will be wired, and only this one will be wireless. So this area, all the software defined radio has been installed. Um, when we go for this applications, when we go for this um, wireless technology, you could able to see in many hospitals, like there are like two-wire communication using this walkie-talkie, and in many industries they are using this walkie-talkie nowadays, and institutions they are using university radio, and if at all they want to have a community radio inside a particular area, they are using this community radio, using this wireless communication. So I think like these are the things that we want to discuss. And is there any doubts regarding this which I shared? We'll have a discussion on that.
Participants, any queries? Sir, can you explain any of the examples, sir?
Which example? Ma'am, in hospitals?
Hospitals. I think it's can you explain in any simulation tools?
Ma'am, when we go for the simulation tools, we are like 1 second.
Sir, good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Could you share some protocols like R5 or some other three tools, sir? Especially, may I know the particular application for the protocol, sir?
Sir, actually, I am like working on this like RF in the antenna side. I'm working, so I have not worked in any RF protocols or anything like that. So I have been doing some research in the antenna side. For example, like what kind of antennas that can be done for this noise cancellation. So what kind of things that can be done for this? So I'm just working on into that one. So I'm not into that protocol area. So I'm just doing my research in like this antenna side. I have like a simulation software, but that is not like purely what you call as that is not full-fledged version. That I got it for like what you call as that is a free trial version that I have been started that version, but I haven't checked with any basic tools or anything like that. So I'm been into this research so that I could able to share you something. Maybe the next time when I have an opportunity to talk with you or when I able to share on the same topic, I could able to share the protocols which I'm going to work it out. But now I'm into this research side of this antenna. What kind of antenna? Maybe like beam antenna or this multi-curving or something like that. So these kind of things I'm into. So I'm just using this technique now only. So the next time when I get into this topic, I'll just let you know, sir.
Okay, sir. Sir,
I have, yeah, sorry.
one more query. This can be applicable or applied for an wind turbine or windmill, that category mechanical devices like that, sir?
Yeah, sir. Actually, nowadays, actually, this SDR, actually, I saw it in like in an article. Like I'm like this SDR can be done. SDR is nothing but like actually it is a it for example like it will automatically have all the frequencies and all these things. If you are setting some frequency and if you are setting these many frequencies and these many inputs and these many outputs, automatically that can be used for the radio purpose. But when you're calling it, when you're using it for the when you're using it for your like energy management system, this software defined radio is like much far it will be good. But when you go for this in the Zigbee module itself, like in the wireless module, like in an institution we have installed earlier, like 5 years back, like we have a Zigbee module. In that, actually, we have like a 1 kilometer line of sight. That I forgot that name. I mean, like the specification of that Zigbee. We have like 1 kilometer line of sight in that Zigbee. So using in this what this energy management, like for example, this windmills data can be transferred and the solar data can be transferred and there are what you call it as continuous data can also be transferred through this wireless technology. But SDR can be done in software defined radio or cognitive radio. You can do it, but that is too costly. But when you want to do it for your like a smaller project, This one comes around like 6,000 to 7,000. So this Zigbee module I'm telling. So that can be done for your low level of project. If you're going for installing in your college or anything, something like that, you can use a Zigbee module itself. So, but in Zigbee module, there is two types. The one is like line of sight and another one is a normal module. We have to buy that line of sight module, and in that you can able to transfer all the energy systems. Like for example, it can be like character or it can be an array or anything can be transferred through like either it should be embedded to any other product, and it from that it can be transferred. Like it can be done. It can be done, sir.
Sir, I have one more query, sir.
Yeah, sir. Yeah.
At present, you are doing the research in that particular area, no?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
You get the data through experimental, or you getting the data from the like chat GPT, AI, something like that? How you
No,
can
sir. No, sir. I'm not. I'm not getting it from ChatGPT. Like I have order. One second, sir. I'll just open it and I'll like 1 second. Give me 1 minute. Yeah, sir. Actually, I didn't get the data from this ChatGPT or anything, sir. Actually, I got it from a soft like 1 second, sir. I'm just. Sir, like I've been like using like one simulation software, but that software is purely of like I could able to design this antenna only. But in this actually, what kind of data we are going to give is actually like, for example, what is my antenna's length on what is my antenna's height and what is my antenna's width, and using all these things only that can be done in this antenna. I can't able to design or I can't able to design how much number of transmission and receiving that can be done only in that software defined radio. This antenna is purely like integrated with some modules. It's not like for example, if I'm integrating with like SDR or if I'm integrating with cognitive radio, in that only I have to do all these things. But this simulation software for antenna is purely of like how many antennas like noise cancellation, how many antennas uh, with for example how many times, for example, like how much miles it is going to transmit, how much miles it can able to receive something. So these are the things only that can be done in this antenna. But when you come for this like when like it has like too much of concepts like shortwave radio, armature radio and all these things. So when you go for this one, so what kind of materials is being installed in cognitive radio, or what kind of software defined radio has been installed, adula vechu you could able to find out. Idhula vande we can't able to give any data for how much numbers or how much frequency, that we can't able to give in this one. This is a dial-as, we call it as dial-as something like
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Sorry, sir. Actually, I may not given you the correct output which you would have been expected, because like I have been into this antennas section and only in the research area. So there are areas which you are asking the question is on the protocols as well as on the in-depth of other technologies. So I am not into that one, but I am into this antennas areas only, but into the simulation areas only. Only. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if at all I didn't answer your questions properly. Sorry.
No issues, sir. No issues, sir. Do well your research, sir. My best wishes, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, have one query, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, actually, our students are designing an antenna for 2.46 gigahertz signal. For that, we cannot able to get we are using ANSYS software.
Yeah.
For that, while we are calculating the voltage wave standing radio, we are getting a two performance is very low, sir. So can we get, in order to increase our efficiency, can you suggest any of the why I am still we are not getting the exact reason why we are getting the efficiency is too low.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, you just send the data to ma'am. Actually, like you just send the data to ma'am. So I'll just get the data and I'll just check it out. Like, how is there anything that can be done, or is there any errors or something like that? So I'll just work it on and I'll just get back on the same regard. So I'll just help you in this. So you just give the data and all these things to ma'am. So I'll
Oh,
just use the same thing in the software which I'm using. So I'll just take it out and I'll get you in this regard, ma'am.
okay, sir. Sure, sir. Thank you, sir. Participants, any other queries? Pa- Participants, any questions from your side? Sir, shall we conclude the session, sir?
Yeah, ma'am. Yeah.
So, on behalf of our team, we extend our heartfelt thanks for your enlightening session on AI powered network automation, security, and self healing in wireless systems. Your expertise and clarity in presenting such advanced concepts made the session both engaging and impactful. The way you illustrated how artificial intelligence is transforming wireless networks, enhancing automation, strengthening security, and enabling self healing capacities. You gave us a valuable insights into the future of wireless communication systems. We truly appreciate the time and effort and the depth of knowledge you shared with us, sir. Thank you once again for your valuable guidance and for making the session a memorable learning experience. Thank you, sir, for your wonderful presentation. Thank you. Dear participants, I kindly request everyone to post the feedback form for this session, and I will be posting the link in the chat box as well as in the WhatsApp group. So kindly post it. And we can meet the next session by tomorrow 6 p.m. Thank you all for your patient listening. Hello, sir. Participants, if you have posted the attendance means, you can kindly leave the mic. Thank you all.